Hi everyone, Dr. Mike here. In this video, we're going to take a look at the crossed extensor reflex. Now remember, when we spoke about the simple reflex arc, we said that there was 5 components. We said that there was a receptor that picks up the stimulus, transduces it into an electrical signal, sends it to number 2, the sensory neuron, which sends an afferent signal into the central nervous system or spinal cord. 3, the integration center or control center, which in this case is an interneuron that sends the signal to number 4, which is a motor neuron, which sends an efferent signal back out of the spinal cord to the effector, efferent to the effector, and then number 5, the effector, in this case, which is a muscle that contracts, which shifts the foot away from the stimulus. It's contracting the muscle here of the hamstring to flick that leg away. Now this is a simple reflex arc, but what is a crossed extensor reflex arc? Well, think about it. If we're contracting that hamstring to move that foot away from the glass, this is all happening on the same side. So this is called the ipsilateral side, same side. What's happening on the contralateral side or the opposing side? Well, if you lift your foot up off the ground, you want to firmly plant the opposing leg, which means you'd need to contract the opposing muscle group to the hamstring, which is the quadricep. And so this muscle needs to contract, and it does so reflexively. That's why it's called the crossed, going the other side, extensor reflex. So let's take a look. We have that sensory signal that's being sent up the leg because the receptor has been stimulated by this broken glass, for example, sends it down the sensory neuron, afferent signal into the spinal cord, synapses or speaks to the interneuron, but it will speak to, for example, another interneuron, which will then go across to the other side and speak to a motor neuron on the contralateral or the opposing side. And this motor neuron will send its efferent signal out and will synapse with the effector, which in this case is the quadricep, which will contract and plant that foot. This is what we call the crossed extensor reflex, where on the ipsilateral side, you have contraction of the muscle that withdraws away from the stimulus, and on the contralateral side, we have the opposing muscle group contracting, in this case, to further plant that foot on the ground. This is the crossed extensor reflex.